Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
And now, the A-Plus League.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the A-Plus League Sports Podcast. Today we're going to talk about the Week 8 recap. We're going to evaluate some of the new fantasy stars that might be coming up, a little waiver wire action. We'll do an early look into some betting lines, see what we can find for value on the early slate. I'm your host, Matty Maitai. With me, as always, is Nick Cometa and Matt Livinati. What's happening, guys?
What's going on?
What's up, everyone? It's Nick, a.k.a. The Commish. Good to be here again today with you. Lonely losers. Oh, wait, no, the Bengals won. So I was going to say, the Falcons, big win.
Which still makes me a loser for taking the Bengals or the Titans in both survivor pools, betting on the Titans, etc. So, yeah, I'll take it.
Bengals win, Falcons win, Chargers with a big loss.
No, they won. They were way up late at the very end of that game.
They were.
Oh,
And
they lost?
yeah, and then all of a sudden, Drew Lock decided to make a big charge. Anthony Lynn needs to be fired.
Big charge. Get it?
Chargers, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's very fitting that the Falcons were not the only team to continue this incredible losing streak. The Chargers, what is that? 0-4 since they had a 17-point lead this year. Is that correct?
They've blown 4 straight 16-plus point leads, but they did still win against the Jaguars. So.
We did almost blow a lead against the Jaguars. We won that one, but we did blow 4.
So that makes a good stat. That's 0-3 when leading by 17 points this year. The rest of the NFL, 52-4.
My bigger issue with this, I don't even care about losing the game. They didn't cover the line. That's what pisses me off the most because I had a lot of money on the Chargers. Stupid me. I should learn.
A lot of units.
But that puts all 3 of our teams at 2 wins, same as the New England Patriots.
Woo! Wow. Welcome to Loserville, fans. It's nice. We'll see you in the first mid to late first round.
We'll see you in the top 10 picks of the draft.
No, you won't see the Bengals there probably because of the damn tie that we have. It's going to push us towards a better or worse draft pick.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. You're still going to be up there, pal. You might not be top 3,
I'm
but
just
you'll
saying
be
it's
up
going to
there.
be like 13 instead of 8 or whatever it is.
Speaking of all these wins, let's kind of review our picks from the last week, guys. Who had a good week? Because I know I didn't.
Not great, Bob.
My hand is not up if you can't. No one can see it. My hand is not up.
This is an audio medium.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we waited until week 8 for us to make our picks. Going into week 8, we all had hot streaks going this year. Survivor, prop bets, straight up against the spread. It was a good year. This week, not so much. Speaking of that, going into tonight, Monday Night Football, we all have Tampa Bay. Hopefully they all cover. Prior to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New York Giants playing, the records from last week, Matt Livinati sitting at 7-6, Nick Cometa sitting at 6-7, and Matty Maitai following up the rear at 5-8, guys. Not a good week.
I mean, I thought I went a lot better, but definitely didn't look back at it and did not go well.
Well, one of the issues that I have for all of us, we're all in a Survivor league that also has a Pick'em league associated with it. In that Pick'em league, it's straight up. It's not against the spread. And in that league, you're just psyched about a win. And then you realize that your betting card has all these teams minus points, and then you're not covering. It's unfortunate.
Did not go well. It actually, a lot of the ones that we got wrong was consensus. Like, we all got it wrong.
Yeah, I think Buffalo was one of them.
Nick had New England.
Come again?
Oh, sorry. You did take New England there, but who else? We all got the Chargers wrong.
All got the Chargers, all got the Colts.
All got the Colts right. All got the Titans wrong.
Titans wrong, yeah.
I got the Falcons right while you two got the Carolina Panthers wrong.
We all got the Packers wrong.
We all almost got the Chiefs right, except for somebody thought he'd be cute and take the Jets plus 17. That was a bad mistake. The Chiefs rolled the Jets yesterday. Who else did we all have? We all were on Philly. We were all on the Saints, according to the sheet I have right in front of me with all our picks last week. But I look into our spreadsheet that we all share here, and I see someone picked the Bears. I don't remember that.
I don't feel like I need to defend myself. If you were to actually listen to our podcast, unlike my two co-hosts here, I did say, I think verbatim, I'm going to go with the Saints here. My one caveat is I'm going to take the Saints as long as Michael Thomas is playing. But I just don't trust the Bears. Matt Nagy, Nick Foles, I want nothing to do with them. That means if Michael Thomas is not playing, I'm not taking the Saints to cover the spread. I thought that was fairly self-explanatory. Apparently not.
I didn't see the contingency in there. I didn't see an asterisk.
I
just saw Saints.
Oh, wait. Nope, that is New Orleans written down in here. That's right. Okay,
The great news is we have tape to go back and listen to this, where I said...
I agree with Matt. I know where he's coming from. I thought when we recorded this podcast that Michael Thomas was playing. There was a good chance Allen Robinson was not going to play, which was also a big caveat on the other side, which would have changed the Saints away from my super lock of the week. Unfortunately, that's not the world we live in, and the Saints did not cover. It was a good game, though. Went into overtime.
I'll actually thank you. I'll probably wait till tonight's game to make sure Tampa covers, but I was going to go pick the Saints. I didn't because you were, so I switched to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll see how that plays out.
2 out of 3 A+ locks are already gone. We'll see if the commissions holds true tonight with Tampa plus minus 10.5.
Can't go 0-3 on the first locks. I mean, come on, guys.
Really tough sledding. But in terms of that, I think we've got some interesting lines coming up for the week. Okay, let's open up next week's slate of games. Week 9 betting preview. Most of the lines that you are going to hear about, we all predicted on Sunday night, and we pulled the lines Sunday evening. Unfortunately, there wasn't any lines up for New Orleans, Tampa Bay, and New York Giants and the Washington Footballs. Since then, we have seen some lines come up, but I think that's still going to be tentative on tonight's game, how that plays out. If the Giants come out and steamroll the Buccaneers for some reason, the lines will shift. So let's just jump right into it. First, let's start with the Thursday night game. Green Bay Packers against the San Francisco 49ers. The original spread that opened up at San Francisco +3, but I think that line's going to be moving, guys.
Just a little bit. I actually loved Green Bay +3 after coming off a disaster game at home where Dalvin Cook, and then Dalvin Cook came out and torched that defense. You would have thought San Fran would do that again, but I had a feeling that Green Bay's offense will come out next week and bounce back. So I did like the line at -3 in Green Bay. Obviously, with the news of Kittle being out and Garoppolo being out, that's going to move. Did you like that, Matt?
I mean, yeah, I projected it at San Fran +4.5. So to see San Fran only +3, I definitely was looking to get in on that. I had a crazy day and didn't get anything in yet, but that, like we said, that line's clearly going to move. My guess is when the books finally start to re-register that it's going to be coming in at +5.5. Plus, I mean, what is George Kittle and their starting quarterback worth in terms of line movement? I think it's moving at least +2.
So just to recap, George Kittle broke his foot. He broke a bone in his foot. He will be out 8 weeks, basically, until the playoffs, if they make it. I put the line at +3, and I agree with Matt. I think the line's going to move to probably 5 or 6. I mean, one aspect of it is that Jimmy G will be out, and that's probably a few points right there when you have the starting quarterback out. George Kittle, while being a tight end and usually doesn't move the line much, he's their number one receiver. He's one of their better run blockers. Yeah. I still think that this will stay under a touchdown because the strength of San Francisco's offense, even though the running backs are banged up, they can run the ball, and clearly Green Bay cannot stop the run after watching Dalvin Cook last week.
What line would you like to take San Fran? If it goes up to 6 and 7, are you taking San Fran?
It has to be 7 for me to take San Fran.
7.
If it hits 7, I'd consider it. I still don't know that I'd do it at that, but yeah, that's what we're looking at in order to be in consideration.
The problem is it's a short week. It's a short week for San Fran and Green Bay, and San Francisco is falling apart, starting new players. Green Bay didn't play well, but they have everyone.
But I also
They get
think,
Aaron Jones back, theoretically.
Yeah.
and I think Vikings were coming off a bye going into Green Bay. They had a good game plan.
Division game.
They needed something to turn around. And coming off that bye week, I think it showed what the Vikings, we've been waiting for the Vikings to do all year because they were an NFC championship team last year.
They were a team everyone was excited about, and then they fell flat on their face. The defense wasn't playing well. The defense has kind of stepped it up a little bit. They held Green Bay in check for most of the game, and then at the end, Aaron Rodgers got some garbage points.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot what it was, but the deep playoff run last year. They thought they would be coming back again. Started off awful, then lost to the Falcons, even worse. Good for them to come back, but
if you can still find Green Bay -3, we suggest you take it. I saw it at -2.5 today before the Kittle news broke. I wish I had grabbed it. I wish I had. But next game we have the Seattle Seahawks at the Buffalo Bills. The opening spread on that is Buffalo +3.5. It seems like it's moved down already. It looks like Seattle is going to be favored by less than a field goal. What are you guys' thoughts on that game?
I mean, Mr. Rogers is putting it very well together. If everyone can't see, Bird is wearing a nice little sweater today.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, guys.
You wrote down -3 for Buffalo. You thought Buffalo was going to get favored too?
So this one really threw me for a loop. I thought Buffalo would be favored in this game.
Wow.
I know Seattle had a dominating performance, but as we were just talking about with San Francisco, they looked atrocious. They really did. It didn't even matter that Jimmy G was playing. When Jimmy G was playing, he looked terrible. And Buffalo, although they haven't looked great, just beat the New England Patriots at home in a tough-fought game. I figured Buffalo would at least be favored by a couple of points at home.
Here's what I think it's going to be. I love this. I think Seattle is a wagon. We're going to jump on it. We're going to piggyback that all the way, all year. You're going to hear me say this. Seattle put up a great performance against San Fran's defense. I know they're banged up a little bit. The Patriots, I know the Patriots look awful, but they still scored 24 points. We're going to score
More until the fumble.
more points until the fumble. And they tore apart that defense with Jacoby Myers and Demarius Bird.
They did not tear up that defense. I watched that entire game. They were struggling to get the ball down the field.
They still scored
in
that
the
many.
second half, they started scoring some points.
They still scored that many points against that defense in Buffalo. And imagine with Tyler Lockett, Metcalf, Moore,
Maybe
and
some
Russell
running,
Wilson.
Maybe some running backs back.
And a quarterback named Russell Wilson. That's your MVP.
Russell
This line is the Patriots were favored by 4.5. Do you think Seattle's?
The Patriots are not favored.
I mean, Patriots were given 4.5. I just don't see that switch being enough. I think Seattle. I think Seattle wins by a touchdown easily.
This spread is telling you that this is a pick'em game with home field advantage. You get 3 points for home field, so they're saying that it's a pick'em game.
No, they're saying at a home field advantage. They are saying Buffalo. They are saying at a neutral field that Seattle's a touchdown, almost a touchdown better than Buffalo.
You have an Linus is fucking with me. Yes, I made that mistake, and I don't see how you don't take Seattle here. Buffalo has not looked good for a couple weeks in a row. Seattle didn't look great against the Cardinals, but showed out again this week and beat up a San Fran team that was somewhat healthy. And really, that game was out of hand. The final score is not as close as it shows it being closer than it really was.
My issue with this game is Seattle's defense not bad, or is San Fran's offense that bad? Because we have seen all year Seattle's defense get torched. Buffalo got torched by New England's run. Seattle has not been running the ball. Hardly at all. They went from being the most run-heavy team in the league to the least rushing attempts in the league. So, can Buffalo, Tre'Davious White, and their secondary stop the Seattle passing attack and make it a competitive game? And Buffalo, can they come down the field and destroy Seattle's defense in a way that San Francisco clearly could not do? Because Buffalo was great on the ground with both Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. Josh Allen is Josh Allen. He's going to make mistakes, but he's going to make deep passes. He's got John Brown back. He's got Stephon Diggs. He's got Cole Beasley for the under routes. I think Buffalo will be pretty competitive in this game. Should they be favored at home? Maybe not. But if you're going to give me 3.5, I'm going to take Buffalo all day.
We'll see the picks, and we'll talk about it next week. I think going on to the next one, though, because Birds clearly wrong about this one.
We'll see. Next game, we have Baltimore Ravens at the Indianapolis Colts. This line opened up at Colts plus 3.5. We were all in the same vicinity on this, anywhere from 2.5 to 4.5. I think that we are all on the same side. Baltimore had a tough loss against Pittsburgh. They're going to be traveling on the road to go play the former Baltimore Colts in Indianapolis. And while the Colts have looked great, they're a team that still just worries me, especially with Phillip Rivers. And now they're going up against a much better defense than they did with the Detroit Lions.
He really dated himself with that joke, but I can tell by the sweater vest that he really has those old jokes down to.
He's a man of rich history.
He's a newly married man. He's just prepping for the dad bod, the dad jokes.
I had to get a couple of those in.
No, I mean,
but we're going on.
Hey, if you think the owner of the Baltimore Ravens doesn't have a vendetta against the former Baltimore Colts, you're nuts.
Well, who likes Jim Irsay? Everyone's got a vendetta against Jim Irsay, so it's fair. But with this game, Baltimore looked okay against the Steelers this past week, but I mean, and Indianapolis looked pretty damn good this past week, but they're going to be playing a much, much better defense. And I just don't see how Indy keeps this one that close. I mean, I think that they might keep it within a touchdown, but at 3.5 here, I'm leaning Baltimore.
I tend to agree with that statement. I think Baltimore will have a breakout game here. I think they're due to show us why they were one of the better teams last year. Lamar Jackson is getting there, but not quite there. He's still making a lot of mistakes in the passing game. I think he will put it together. The Russian attack will be going strong. And I think Mark Andrews has a big game today, this week against Indianapolis. I like Baltimore to run away with it.
I'm interested to see how Lamar Jackson handles this defense, because this defense looked like a completely revamped, better defense with Darius Leonard back. Yeah. And that's such a huge cog that they got back. So I am curious to see how much better this defense looks.
I am scared for the MVP to go run wild. But it may just be that he's having a post-MVP slump this season. He has not looked the same. The passing attack has looked terrible. He's been making some stupid throws. His first two picks in the Pittsburgh game, right to linebackers on passes that should have never been thrown. He looks like he's a rookie all over again. And while he's rushing and using his legs, people have figured that out, so they're going to spy him. They've been trying to trap him in. And unfortunately, as Matt said, Darius Leonard's back there. If you've got a guy that's going to track Lamar Jackson that well, it's going to be Darius Leonard.
What I've found super surprising about the Ravens and Lamar's somewhat struggles this year, and he's been perfectly fine, but for Lamar's standards, struggles for sure, is that the running, they haven't been running the same way that they were last year, where it just looked dominant and undefendable. It's in the designed runs, Lamar is doing fairly fine, equivalent to what he was last year. It's the scramble plays where he's trying to make something out of nothing, where it's just nowhere close to the efficiency that it was last year. And I don't know how much that is defenses picking up on it and defending it differently, or if it's just something Lamar needs to change himself.
As we're talking about it, I think we are kind of leaning the Colts, but I will say this. J.K. Dobbins looked like the second-round pick that he is and rushed for 115 yards last week on only 11 carries, which is incredibly efficient. Mm-hmm. I think if Lamar limits the mistakes, they run a few more run-pass options and get the running game really established, I think they will be okay. I think it's when Lamar gets put in tough positions that he struggles. And the Baltimore defense did look pretty good against Pittsburgh this week. They stuffed the run. James Conner had a tough time finding lanes. And the big thing with this Colts offense is running the ball. They ran all over Detroit. They're using Taylor, Wilkins, Hines. But Phillip Rivers really needs that run game established because his strongest asset is the play-action game. And if he can't get a good run game, the play-action game is going to be destroyed. And they will have a hard time moving the ball. T.Y. Hilton left the game last week after only having 2 catches for 9 yards. If he doesn't play, it's Michael Pittman, Mo Alley Cox, and Jack Doyle.
T.Y. Hilton's dead to me. Dead. Dead.
Apparently not a serious injury, from what I heard.
Dead.
And are they actually using Jonathan Taylor? Because it didn't really look like they were in this past week's game, and I'm not exactly sure why, but Frank Reich came out and said after the game that he's dealing with a little bit of an ankle injury that he didn't know about until after the game.
I thought he was a top 5 running back in your terms.
Right? He was. No, I said 6.
He's top 6. He wouldn't trade him. Top 6 guy.
Top 6 guy.
Goes for 11 carries for 22 yards. Did not have a good performance, but as Matt mentioned, Frank Wright and Phillip Rivers both mentioned that he was banged up, which is surprising coming off of a bye, but it's a situation to monitor in terms of fantasy, but in terms of real life, if Jonathan Taylor can't really carry the ball that much and that efficiently, do you really trust Jordan Wilkins to go out and beat the Baltimore fucking Ravens? I'm not very confident in it.
Agreed.
On to the next game. We have Houston Texans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Both teams coming off of a bye. The line opened at 6.5. We were all kind of in the range of 4.5 to 6.5. The reason why I think Matt might not have put the line as high as I did at 6.5 is that Gardner Minshew has already been ruled out, not officially, but it's 99% sure he will not be playing this week, which means it'll be either Mike Glennon or Jake Luton as the starting quarterback for Jacksonville, which is surprising that this line is still even up there, because if you're telling me that either of those two bums is going to be up there, give me Houston minus the points all day. I really don't have any more to say about the game.
Yeah, I don't have too much to add here. I mean, Houston hasn't looked good, but Jacksonville's just looked that much worse. And I do lean Houston here just for the offense alone. I mean, one of the better quarterbacks in the league. I think he figures out against a porous defense how to win by more than a touchdown.
Nick?
Yeah, I mean, Houston's team total over. Take them. Jacksonville looks pathetic, and without Minshew, it's not going to be much of a game.
Mike Glennon. Oh,
We'll see. It's
that long neck.
It's bad either way. On to the next game, we have the Carolina Panthers at the Kansas City Chiefs. Opening line on that was minus 13.5. Me and Matt were down at 9.5, but Nick had it right around 13. I'm a little surprised with the line, not because Kansas City hasn't looked great, but their biggest weakness, as I stated last week, is their rushing attack. Obviously, the Jets did not do that great because they're the fucking Jets, but Carolina is getting back the best running back in the NFL in Christian McCaffrey. He will be back this week. Carolina is coming off of 10 days of rest because they played on Thursday Night Football. I'm a little surprised this line is this high, and to be honest, if it gets to 14, I will be betting Carolina.
I think Kansas City, again, the deep ball attack is something to be worrisome. Julio Jones just lit him up. The Falcons just lit him up. I just don't think they can stop that offense of Kansas City. I understand they're good, and they'll have a good running game, and Kansas City stinks. But we thought about that with the Chiefs against the Jets, and that didn't really.
But the Chiefs, while the ending score, they dominated. For most of that game, the Jets were in it. Up until late in the third quarter, the Kansas City Chiefs did not pull away with the game. They looked like they had it in hand, but they did struggle at moments. They couldn't convert on fourth down a couple of times. They had trouble running the ball. Edwards-Helaire and Bell combined for, I think, under 50 rushing yards. The offense is still very strong. They will win this game. I have no lack in faith in Kansas City winning. But if it gets to 14, all of a sudden, you're talking about an easy backdoor. They get up 21. They're playing soft defense, maybe 20 points. Teddy Bridgewater comes down, scores a touchdown, covers the spread.
You're right. This has backdoor written all over it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the big thing I know, it's in Kansas City. I think it's still a double digit. I think it's still 10, 11 points if it's in Carolina.
Yep.
I just think in Kansas City, they're just so good there. Mahomes is Russell Wilson's looking good. Mahomes is, I feel like
he's turned it on the past couple of weeks. Russell's been doing it for all 8 weeks so far.
Patrick Mahomes is throwing darts everywhere.
Russell Wilson's the MVP favorite. Mahomes is second.
Yeah,
it's pretty clear. But it's going to be one of those two guys this season. The way it's going.
Talking point.
Ryan Tannehill had his first 4-week little Cinderella run there.
That was cute. On to the next game.
So did Cam Newton.
On to the next game. We have the Denver Broncos at the Atlanta Falcons. Ooh, Nick. Line opened at Falcons -4, which shocked us.
How?
I have no idea. Rest? Is that what we're going with here? Rest? They had 10 days rest, so all of a sudden they're more than a field goal favorite against anybody.
The mini bye.
I don't know. I mean,
they're saying in a neutral site game that they'd be favored.
People love Atlanta. I don't know why. I love them and I hate them. I mean, these Falcons are the most unpredictable team you'll ever see. Denver, on the other hand, just as unpredictable. I have no idea what to think about this team. They go around somehow pull a 17-point comeback against the Chargers. I know the defense stinks, but then they get
defense.
But I mean, are they that bad? The Chargers defense? I don't know.
The Chargers defense is
they have a
good.
lot of talent,
They suck.
but they suck.
They fucking suck.
They have the talent, but they suck.
They have players, but honestly, Bosa got a concussion. I don't want to get into the Chargers too much, but that defense really fell apart.
I mean, I don't know what to think of this Denver team coming into Atlanta. I don't think that really even matters. I think with the Falcons, I don't know what to think. I think I may actually take the points in with the Falcons on this game.
You're laying points?
I don't know why, but
You're taking the points or you're laying the points?
I'm taking Falcons -4.
Wow. See, I think this is a trap. I think this is Vegas setting a line that entices people to bet the Falcons. Denver did not look that bad. They have. I think this is a trap to it. Yeah, I think people want to bet the Falcons. I think Vegas knows this. Similar to Kansas City, they know people want to bet Kansas City, so they can push that line as high as they want. They could make this fucking line for Kansas City -20, and people are still going to bet it. I think that's what's happening with Atlanta here. I think Denver, when they have Lindsey back and some of the pieces on offense, Drew Lock's throwing to 2-3 tight ends every game.
I think this is a trap game.
Trap section.
It's the trap within a trap.
It's basically a whole reaction. We saw the line at -4, and we're like, why is Falcons getting -4?
You're right.
So
You're right.
I think that everyone's thinking they want to bet Denver, and then I'm actually in the other way. I'm so far in the rabbit hole that I think the Falcons are the play.
Once the quarterback has the ball, he fakes to the left. No, he fakes to the right. He doesn't fake. He thinks about fake. He pretends to fake. I don't know where I am.
I'm not going down that rabbit hole with you, sir.
Let me put it this way. If you are right, that means Denver should get bet early based on what we thought. Atlanta should come down from -4 to -3, then I'll reconsider.
Yep, that makes sense.
On to the next game. We have the Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings. Should we just call them the Minnesota Dalvin Cooks? Because that's pretty much what they were the other day against Green Bay Packers. Vikings open at -3.5. We were all kind of right around that line, anywhere from 1.5 to 3.5.
It's a pick'em game. It opened at -3.5. It's a pick'em game in a neutral site. It's a divisional opponent. These teams know each other. They both are going to try to run it, although they have been letting Matt Stafford cook. But these teams are both so up and down. I'm staying away from this one entirely.
Is the play just the over on this one? Because
This is two bad defenses. I really think that might be a good play. I haven't seen the over/under.
Can we just
Let's
forget
pull it
about
up real quick.
Because it's a pick'em game. No one really knows. I mean, I really don't know what to think of this game. I think the over is the only play.
So I'm looking at it right now. The over is at 53.5. Last week, Minnesota versus Green Bay was 28-22, which was 50 points. The Detroit game went well over. I think that was about 65, 66 points.
It was
62 points. So with these two teams, Detroit's giving up a ton of points. The Vikings, while playing well against Green Bay, have been giving up points all year, including 40 to the Falcons. I think Nick's right. I think the over might be the play. I'm a little bit worried about Minnesota kind of having a letdown spot after a big win, but Detroit couldn't stop Jordan Wilkins, so how are they going to stop Dalvin Cook?
Exactly.
They might be the play. Or maybe just a Dalvin Cook anytime touchdown, which we all had.
Yep.
It was a good one.
And the one thing that does concern me here a lot is that Kenny Golladay is going to be out. Actually, breaking news is that Lions are hosting Mohamed Sanu, former Bengal, former Patriot. So they clearly desperate at wide receiver. Golladay, it looks to be a multi-week injury. So they've got, who is it? Marvin Jones, Marvin Hall, Danny Amendola.
TJ Hawkinson.
Yep. But I still think I'd lean Minnesota here. I want nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
If it gets to -3, I think I'd just bet Minnesota. On to the next game. Chicago Bears at the Tennessee Titans. Titans laying 5.5. We were all thinking this would be around a field goal, guys. What do you think here? I mean,
Hey, Chicago looked better than I expected against the Saints. I think that says more about the Saints than the Bears. But Tennessee laid an absolute egg against my Bengals, and the Bengals hurt me by winning for a change. I'm not used to this. I hate it.
No matter what, if you want them to win, they'll lose. If you want them to lose, they'll win. They just hurt you any way they can.
But
I think Tennessee. I just don't trust Chicago. At no point first off, what the hell was that guy doing? That wide receiver? Can anyone wins?
He says wins. He says that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson spit at him and tore out his mouthpiece. And
Poked somebody out. He poked Anthony Miller in the eye too, is what I heard.
While somebody shouldn't be spitting at other players at any point, especially during a pandemic, that is how it's traced and contacted. That doesn't mean you just go up and deck a guy. And how stupid is it to deck somebody with a fucking helmet on? I will never understand this.
What's the third clip I've ever seen?
I loved it. I wish there was more of this in the NFL. I really do. I wish this is how they settle penalties. Like it's almost like a jump ball. Just who can punch each other harder? And honestly, who gives a fuck? This guy's a nobody. He'll never be referenced again.
Did he have a dinner date by 8 o'clock? What the hell is this guy doing?
He got called up to the practice squad. He's like, I'll make a name for myself. What, you gonna catch a pass? Nah, fuck that. Bam.
The worst part is
what this reminded me
he
of.
didn't even move.
It reminded me of fighting random civilians in Grand Theft Auto. Like he just walked up randomly, looked at him, like gave him a little tap, and then just decked him in the face.
Do you think he took his money afterwards?
He tried to rip his chain off at first. It looked like, and that didn't work. So then he just punched him.
Yeah, what a fucking weirdo.
He probably get good money for that on the streets. Probably got a lot of diamonds.
Back to the game. I think Chicago looked good, but they're not good. They're the kings of doing that. I still like Tennessee. I wish the spread was less than 5.5.
So I will say this line has already moved to 6.
Damn it.
The only thing I will say, Chicago, outside of their game against the Rams on Monday Night Football, have played one possession game every game this year.
I know. I just don't get it.
They are a team that just likes to linger around. I don't think they're a good team. Matt Nagy just knows how to play
ugly football.
Yeah, I'm not going to beat you, but I'm not going to lose by that much. I think, honestly, the Bears might be a play. And if Tennessee is getting early action on this, and it gets up to 7 or even 6.5, and you can just buy that half a point, I'm probably in on the Bears at that point.
If it moves that much, yeah, I'd lean there as well because the Titans.
It might be an overreaction to them losing to the Bengals, but.
And maybe this is a bounce back game for them, but I just don't see a team that was undefeated 2 weeks ago and lost in a close game to the Steelers. How did you just lose to the Bengals? I don't.
Oh, yeah, enough about the Bengals.
There we go.
Well,
they're a great team.
Bird can't
Number
say.
1 overall pick.
Bird can't say. He likes to say on to the next game. This week, at least, he can't say we're on to Cincinnati because they're on bye week.
This is true. Doesn't matter. I still get that clip in somehow. The New York Giants at the Washington football team is the next game up. We have the line at Washington footballs -3.5. Washington's coming off a bye. The Giants still have to play tonight. I really don't know too much to think of this game until we see what the Giants do, but based on what I've seen this year, I'm willing to take Washington -3. It's probably just going to be a stay away for me. These are two bad teams. I probably wouldn't put this game on.
I don't like talking about bad teams against bad teams, but I do like talking about the Falcons. Jesus. Yeah, it's going to be, I think, Washington. I just don't know what the Giants are made of. The close games they've had against the Eagles, and I still think the Eagles stink, and against the Dallas Cowboys, who kind of stink, but they had Dak Prescott in the beginning into that game when they were up, so it goes back and forth with the Giants. I just think they're just two bad teams. It's going to be a close game, and I think someone pulls away in the second half.
I mean, you said it. It's a divisional game, and I imagine that it's going to be close. So if anything, I'm leaning Giants here with the points. We'll see where the lines move after tonight's game, but again, I want nothing to do with this. I'll hear about it for 5 seconds on Red Zone on Sunday, and that's all I need to know.
My NFL Sunday ticket set up in my basement can put 6 games on the TV.
That will be the one
between my 3
have.
TVs. There are 7 games in the 1 p.m. slot. This is the game I will not be watching. I guarantee it. Probably won't have any action. I lean Washington. On to the next game. We have the Las Vegas Raiders at my Los Angeles Chargers. I don't even know what to say. We were fucking atrocious. The Joey Bosa has a concussion. The defense didn't look great. We made a lot of stupid mistakes, especially in the secondary. The offense has looked good with Herbert. We had a lot of rushing yards. Herbert did make a couple of mistakes, but he looked good once again. I'm not worried about us putting up points. I'm worried about us stopping anyone. This game opened at a pick'em. I thought they'd be laying points. Nick, did you think the Chargers would be getting 3?
Yeah.
We both thought that me and Matt both thought they'd be laying 1.5. I think that they should be getting points because I honestly think that the Chargers may lose. I honestly hope they lose, but what are your thoughts?
I think this is you take Vegas now, and then that line's going to move toward in the Chargers' favor. Then maybe hopefully it gets to 3. I don't know if it'll get that far.
No way.
But hey, if it gets that far, then you have a good double dip area.
2 up and down teams, another divisional matchup. I mean, the Raiders, they look pretty damn good against the Browns this past weekend against an okay defense. And
in a bad weather game.
Yeah, but now that they look good in a spot where you easily thought they could have lost, I'm expecting them to come out and poop their pants.
No. Yep.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I've just been so disheartened. That was probably the most disheartening loss I've had in a few years. That one was bad. I've seen us lose some games, but to be up 6 and give up a touchdown on the last second of the game, someone falling on his ass, that one really hurt.
To have Drew Lock dance on you like that?
On to the next game, we have the Miami Dolphins at the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals coming off a bye, opened up at Cardinals -5. I said it last week. I didn't make the official pick, but if you want to rewind the tape real quick. So the thing that gets me about this game is that Tua played at Alabama. So he is used to the SEC where these massive defensive linemen are coming after him. And I know Aaron Donald is a completely different monster,
That's what
but I think he's going to be more prepared than a lot of people think. And I'm going with the Rams just to be upfront about it, but I'm nervous about it, to be honest. I said that Tua was not going to be overwhelmed by Aaron Donald and that Rams defense. I thought that he would be able to handle the situation. While he didn't do that much, the defense did a lot for him. He still managed himself very well in that game, and I think he's a little more mature than people thought. But I just think that Arizona looks too fucking fuego right now.
Yeah, I mean, he looked great as getting the ball out of his hand, but he learned that very quickly after his first play he got sacked and stripped.
He got hit hard early on, yeah.
First throwing attempt, he got sacked and stripped by Aaron Donald. I mean, that was a good wake-up call. He learned it early. I still think Arizona has a good defensive end group that they will get to him. The defense did so much for Miami. I think going to Arizona, off Arizona's bye week, they have too many weapons. And the thing about the Rams is that they didn't change anything in regards to how they went. They kept on letting Goff sit there by himself and get teed up nonstop. I think Kyler Murray has a good enough scramble to get out of the zone, out of the pocket. Chase Edmonds is a good blocking and good catching running back that they can drop it off to him. I think Arizona's offense will be better managed to face Miami's defense, when I'm surprised the Rams' offense didn't change anything that game.
And the Rams' defense is better than the Cardinals, but it's not like the Cardinals are one of the worst defenses in the league. They're okay. And Tua, he looked okay in his first game, but he also was 12 for 22 for 93 yards and a touchdown. You're going to need more than that. And you're not going to get that sort of production out of your defense and special teams every single week. So they scored in all 3 facets of the game. And I don't foresee getting enough of that special teams and defense. And that's why I think Arizona covers this one.
It will be interesting that the Miami defense's strength is their secondary and the Arizona Cardinals' strength is their wide receiver core. It's going to be very interesting to see DeAndre Hopkins and Christian Kirk up against Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. That'll be a fun little matchup, but I think Arizona's going to come away victorious on that. Next game, probably might be the prime. I guess it's the primetime game at the 4 o'clock. Jesus Christ! Pittsburgh Steelers at the Dallas Cowboys. This line is not up yet, I'm assuming because of the quarterback situation in Dallas. I put it at 7.5. You guys both put it at 13.5. You're probably right if it's going to be
Either way.
Danucci.
I don't
If it's
care.
Dalton, I think it'll be a little bit lower, but
I mean,
I think Pittsburgh
11.5 if it's Dalton.
Dallas is 0-8 against the spread this year. They haven't looked good on offense, defense. I think as soon as you lost Dak Prescott, you cut the head off the snake, and Pittsburgh's probably going to roll.
I think that this is, and I could be wrong on this, but I'm fairly certain that that's the first time in NFL history that a team has started a season 0-8 against the spread.
Oh, not true. Not true, Matt.
Is it 0-9 then?
No, guess who did it? The Cincinnati Bengals back in when? 1972, Nick?
We're on to Cincinnati.
Did we pull that?
This is
stat?
the
This is a Bengals
trivia.
stat.
This is the trivia. Awesome. Then I think no team has ever started 0-9 then, I believe, and that the Dallas Cowboys have a decent chance to do it here.
Oh, I hope they cover the spread so that they can be in the company of the Bengals still.
yeah, it's going to be Pittsburgh. It's going to be. I mean, I am shocked they won in Baltimore, but Lamar made some crucial mistakes, and Pittsburgh made some plays.
What a shitty 4 o'clock slate. Vegas, Chargers, Miami, Arizona, and Pittsburgh, Dallas. I think Arizona and Miami is the best game there.
Yeah, no,
Fuck.
no,
Wow.
All right, on to the Sunday night game. We have the New Orleans Saints at the Tampa Bay Bucks. Now, this might be the matchup of the week here. Rematch of week 1. Tom Brady looked terrible on the first week against the Saints defense. But since then, Tampa has been rolling. I'm sure they're going to win tonight against the Giants. This will be a great game. We all kind of had the spread between 2.5 to 4.5. It opened at -4. Tampa Bay -4. I think that depending on how tonight goes, I really don't even know which way to go with this game.
I think it's going to be Tampa Bay. Very rarely do you see these NFC teams sweep divisional games. Saints lose 1 to Carolina, Falcons, and they all split.
But can they cover by 4?
Yes.
Even if Michael Thomas comes back. Yeah, big if, but
Yes, I think they neutralized Kamara enough in that game 1 that I think that Drew Brees is going to have trouble throwing downfield against this Tampa Bay defense. I think they're going to get to him, make him uncomfortable, and without Kamara there, which he's been all so much throughout this entire year, this is a game where I think, Kamara's going to have one bad game, you know?
Is he?
He's got to have one bad game.
I don't know if he has to, yeah.
This is it. I think they split. I think Tampa Bay covers this.
They're getting AB potentially for this Week 9 game. So
It's true.
Godwin looks. Last I saw on Godwin, it's a 50-50 chance. He had surgery on a fractured finger. So it's a 50-50 shot he plays this week. Mike Evans hopefully gets a little bit healthier. They're going to get AB. They've got Scotty Miller, Gronk, Rojo. We've gone through the list before. The Saints have not been the Saints of old. And Drew Brees is starting to put it back together and looking like 80% of his former self, but I still think that Brady's looking like 95% of his former self, and they cover.
Do we know if Antonio Brown is going to be in decent enough shape to actually play much in this game? I know last time he just jumped into the New England offense, but he had a full training camp. He, was in great shape.
Don't worry about it. Brady had, what the hell is that guy's name? The life coach, Tim Robbins,
yeah.
John Robbins, whatever the hell his name is. Tony Robbins. AB will be fine. He'll be in perfect shape. He'll think great about himself. No other mental issues.
They're
for
living
sure.
together, right?
Hey, let me put it this way. If Tampa Bay can beat the New Orleans Saints, that'll go a long way to my Tampa Bay future of over 9.5 wins. Put them right at 7-2.
That'll be good.
Of that.
My Patriots over at 9.
Oh, no, it is not. Yeah. Remember when
I'm
you
just going to take that one back.
My Bengals under at 6.5.
Well, speaking of the New England Patriots, we're on to the Monday Night Football game. We have the New England Patriots at the New York Jets. We all had this around 5.5 to 6.5. It opened at the Jets plus 7.5. New England look bad, guys.
Yeah, I just don't. The Jets kept it close against the Bills 2 weeks ago, week 7. They kept it close for 2.5, 3 quarters against the Chiefs. And the Patriots aren't going to have Edelman. Oh, no, yeah, he's on IR. They definitely won't have Edelman. And I just don't see them having enough here to pull ahead by more than 7 against the Jets. Even though the Jets are the worst team in the league, I still don't think the Pats cover this.
I think the 7.5 is the issue. I go back and forth. I thought it was. I think it's at 7. I take them because I want that push. I think the Patriots are struggling in the sense of they're just trying to get everyone back and going together. I think they are coached well enough that unless Bill Belichick is trying to lose, but I don't think he is. He's putting good game plans together. The team has just not executed as well. I think the Patriots get maybe like an ugly last-second field goal to make this a two-possession game.
I think that New England doesn't know what it wants to be. I think life after Tom Brady is just too tough for them. I think they're trying to run some of the similar schemes that they had before. Cam's struggling with it. Yes, they are running options within that offense, but even just some of their traditional plays with these routes that have 3 different options on them, they fall away when you have a quarterback that's making bad decisions and he can't fit some of these tight pockets that Tom Brady used to. I think New England will win this game. I think they will try to reestablish themselves, but I am worried that the Jets are going to cover. They've looked a lot better. They've only shown flashes of it, but they have a life. They have a little bit of a life to them ever since this Le'Veon Bell incident.
At some point, I mean, if the Jets win, that's better for all of us. We're trying to get the Jets to win a couple more.
At least get to 2.
Get them up
2
to
wins.
2.
Yeah, and I mean,
Take for Trevor.
Bird, you hit the nail on the head that the Patriots are still trying to figure out who they are. And the one thing that scares me here in terms of going against the Patriots to cover is that the Patriots offense is never fully formed by November. You see this offense evolves every single year with Brady, and I think that that's partially because of Belichick. So it's going to be continuing to evolve to find out what they're best at. And maybe this is the week they put it all together against a terrible defense. I don't know.
If Gilmore plays, I'm worried for the life of Sam Darnold because he might see ghosts again.
Seeing ghosts.
Yeah, see ghosts.
So I think that's all we really need to talk about for the early slate. Keep an eye on the line. Some of these might move, and after that, we'll revisit on Wednesday. When do you guys want to record? Wednesday? We'll record Wednesday, and we can get the lines out for the upcoming Sunday. Let's move on to trivia. Nick.
We're going to be talking about fantasy this week, and my fantasy team got a big boost based off a somewhat questionable fumble return, touchdown by the Eagles.
Somewhat.
I don't know if people don't know about this, but 2 guys were wrestling for the ball on the ground, both touching each other. The play should have been called dead there.
For like 8 seconds.
Instead, it got popped out. Eagles scored a touchdown. That gives me hopefully a good enough lead. But going to this defensive ends returning touchdowns, in 1964, which famous defensive end recovered a fumble recovery for a touchdown, but actually returned it to their own end zone, not the opposing team's end zone? I'm going to give you some bonus points. Which team did this person play for? And what was the actual ruling on the play? So I'm going to give you a multiple choice because I don't think anyone has any idea.
I've seen this play. I'm trying to remember it.
So I'm going to give you 4 choices because I don't think this is old defensive ends. Option A, Reggie White. Option B, Jim Marshall. Option C, Joe Green. And option D, Alan Page.
And you said it was 1964?
In 1964, which famous defensive end recovered a fumble recovery for a touchdown?
Joe Green, Dallas Cowboys.
But actually returned it to their own end zone.
I'm not Googling the answer.
Matt, you said
Joe Green, Dallas Cowboys.
Joe Green, Dallas Cowboys.
Joe Green's where I was leaning at. Alan Page was my other guess.
That's my second. That was
so
my
you guys,
guess.
The correct answer, I'm just going to go Reggie White played for the Packers and Eagles in
like the 70s.
80s and 90s. Yeah. So that's not correct. Jim Marshall was for the Vikings in the 60s and 70s. Shit. Joe Green was for Pittsburgh in the 70s.
I thought he played for Dallas, too.
Yeah. Maybe for a year or two. He was mostly.
And Alan Page was for the Vikings in the 60s and 70s. All part of.
I thought it was a Vikings thing. Shit.
It is a Vikings player, but it actually is Jim Marshall who ended up going 66 yards for the Vikings. Does anyone
I'm
know?
gonna edit that out. I actually guessed Marshall and the Vikings.
He went for the Vikings against the 49ers in 1964, even though it was. And does anyone know what it was? The play would actually be counted for? What was the play actually counted as?
They count as a safety?
They did count it as a safety because as soon as he went into the end zone, he threw the ball into the mids.
Yeah.
So the refs called it a safety, even though both teams were chasing him down the field, telling him to go the other way. It's actually a hilarious script if you look at it. But he ended up going for 66 yards, scored it into the 49ers touchdown instead of his own touchdown. It ended up as a safety, but nonetheless, the Vikings did win the game 27-22. So there's actually another stat to note on this. This is not the only person to score on their own touchdown. There's also a kickoff return back in the 30s. I forgot the name, but only defensive touchdown. But hey, Eagles, thank you again for calling that, getting that touchdown. Hopefully, come Wednesday, Thursday when we record, I can come off with a win and go into first place, which leads us into the fantasy league that we go in. And Matt, do you want to talk about your loss? Matt, your loss.
So thank you for the trivia. That was very good. It was a good one. I've seen that clip before, but I forgot who it was, and thanks for the reminder. As for fantasy, well, Nick, for all those parties interested, there is a player in our league who is 1-6 going into this week and was desperate, so he started shopping around players like crazy. Ended up giving up DeAndre Hopkins and Kareem Hunt for Dalvin Cook, and then put him in the lineup against me, dropped 50 points, and I lost, even though I had the second most points in the league scored this week.
Debatable. Danny may get
What's debatable? What do you do?
Danny may get more points than you this week.
Oh,
projected.
for fuck's sake.
But, I mean, hey, sometimes as a commissioner, you see who you're facing against, and if everyone loses ahead of you and I win, hey, that's good for me because it gets that one game of separation away from me.
Yeah, except you're not going to win.
Verbatim, what Nick said when he made the trade was, well, Kareem Hunt's not much of a downgrade from Dalvin Cook.
This week, I thought it was. The Cleveland rushing attack is doing well. If you look at the stats, fantasy stats per player going into this week, Kareem Hunt and Dalvin Cook are right by each other. Dalvin Cook has a history of being injured. I thought it was a good trade. I mean, I do get DeAndre Hopkins. Forget that. I mean, my wide receiver core is just getting better and better. More PPR leagues, better wide receivers. You like that?
Yeah.
But hey, don't say I may lose. Ronald Jones has to get 17 points for me to lose.
Yeah, so you could lose.
Ronald Jones is going to go off tonight. Bet the over on rushing yards, receiving yards, touchdowns. Lock it in.
Kind of like when Nick said all that about Calvin Ridley, right?
Injury. Different.
Oh, jeez, come on.
Different.
Don't make a joke about injuries. Come on, that's
You were
cool.
fading Julio and all about Ridley, and yeah, that
it would have been good. Julio had a hot start that would have opened up for a guy.
Yeah, I'm
Libs, you might score the least amount of points in the league this week.
Sounds about right, but well.
Wait, that's lower than Paul.
That's way lower than Pauly.
No, it looks like Fiore's going to beat me out for least points, but
it's close.
We'll see.
I mean, hey, remember the 12 and 13-1 projections from
12-1.
the projections? You know,
Check the current projection.
I have a 50% chance of winning this week. Why do you guys even try to play?
5-8 projection. No, not looking too good.
Any thoughts for Stripey? What's it?
No, I still have more points for than you, but we'll see.
Stripey Oasis?
Oh, yeah, it's all about the points for when he's up by like 3.5 points. More.
Should be interesting. Bill led the way this Bill led the way this week with 155.38 points projected. Obviously, we still have tonight's football, but Nick's got the closest matchup. Winner of that matchup goes into first. Should be good. Rick beat out Libs. Paul Leonard's going to get his first win this week, hopefully, with 103 points. That's going to be great. And Danny. Oh, my God. Danny wins his fourth in a row? He's on fire.
4
in a row for Danny.
Yep.
He started 1-3. He's going to be 5-3 now, and he's going to jump up to fifth place.
Damn. I mean, when you ride Kansas City that well with Mahomes and Hill tearing it up, I mean, it's a good strategy. You have a 1-2 combo that puts up 50, 60, 70 points. That's more than freaking Matt's team and Addy's team put up this week.
So
true.
Who's Bill gonna trade for this week? Trade away his bye week players.
I mean,
going up against me.
Obviously, we know Cooper Kupp's going to be on the waiver wire for Bill this week. He's coming off a good game this week.
Oh, yeah, and Fulgham, too. He'll trade Fulgham. Oh, my God. He's going to load up the receivers. Maybe even package Goddard. Who knows? He'll give you Goddard, Kupp, and Fulgham for, I don't know,
Hey,
Phil Rivers.
Somebody say that you may need a tight end.
Oh, yeah, you don't even have Kittle.
Kittle going
Hickson's
down.
on a bye. Ingram's out. You're fucked.
Looks like maybe some head-to-head trades coming up next week. I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know.
Just saying, I've got
You
plenty.
got to get better for the playoffs. And can we all agree that this makes the league more exciting? Bill just trading. Trades make the league better. Am I the only one?
I agree. I agree.
I hate people that accrued. I mean, Rick, Danny, Paulie.
It sucks when there's
one of the worst people to ever trade with.
It sucks when there's no trading league. I'll give you that. But Bill is just becoming a wild card, and it's getting to the point where even if he makes the playoffs, he's not going to have anybody to show for it. He's going to.
You can't. As much as a stupid thing he says, you can't win it if you don't make it there. If he makes it there, which obviously he won't, then it's then egg on our face. But hey, it spiced it up a little bit. I do like the fact that he gave me Lockett for Montgomery. I put 48 points, 49 points against him with Lockett, and then I give him Cook. But instead of putting 49 points against me, he puts against you, Matt. So, but I mean,
it works out for you.
Win all in my favor. If I can pull out a win,
if Rojo beats you tonight, it's gonna be hysterical.
If I can pull out a win here, I am gonna be happy. I'm still trying to make more trades. No one. Okay, let me get this straight. I gave this offer to Rick. Kareem Hunt and Lamar Jackson for Russell Wilson.
I told him it was a good trade. He didn't want to do it.
He counters and goes Julio Jones and Todd Gurley for Russell Wilson.
And
that's it.
There's something else he said.
He gave me, I don't even know. Sterling Shepard, maybe.
Gross.
Russell Wilson's MVP. It's tough to get him.
And you don't trade for a quarterback in a 10-team league, but do what you will.
I get it.
You go about that. I go about a guy that's putting up 30 points.
I know your initial offer is perfectly fine.
Yeah,
but I'm saying the counter offer of just Russell Wilson for
I'm not giving two guys for a quarterback when I have two decent quarterbacks.
Exactly.
One that's probably going to be projecting higher, who's done worse with Lamar Jackson. And Matt Ryan's been steady, 15 to 25 points every game.
Yep.
Which is nothing I need to worry about when the Falcons are going to be behind and throwing the ball all the time.
So I'm interested to see how the week's going to come up. Real quickly, you want to talk about some potential waiver additions?
Yeah. So I mean, if you're needy for some of these injuries that have happened, we talked a little bit about Jonathan Taylor dealing with a foot thing. Naheem Hines crushed it again this week. He's super hit or miss, boom bust, if you will. Other than that,
Jordan Wilkins is another option, I think.
Yep. Darrell Henderson left the game early, so if Malcolm Brown or Cam Akers is out there for you, out of nowhere, I didn't know this guy was still in the league. Donta Foreman, perennial disappointment backup in Houston, is now backing up Derrick Henry and looked pretty damn good.
Are you going to handcuff that?
Granted, he did look good against the Bengals' poorest run defense, so take that with a grain of salt. But beyond that, if Corey Davis is out there for you, definitely grab him. Like I said last week, Lazard has a chance to be activated from the IR this week. Darnell Mooney, undrafted rookie free agent for the Bears, has actually been putting up pretty impressive numbers. Mecole Hardman, Jalen Reagor, Kendrick Bourne, all decent options. Denzel Mims.
Some other names I liked out there that may or may not be owned in your league, depending on how deep it is. Zach Moss had a great game, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. He looked fantastic. We'll see if that continues. I'm assuming most people, if you are in a Patriots league, Damian Harris is probably already owned, but he had a pretty good game against the Bills in that same game. Chase Edmonds is probably owned in your league, but a lot of people are adding him. Wayne Gallman, I don't even want to touch the New York Giants situation. Marvin Jones, if Kenny Golladay is going to be out, he's been dropped in a lot of leagues. You might want to try to scoop him up if he's there.
Yeah, my top two. You guys give me like 30 options.
My number one's Zach Moss. I'll tell you right now. That's who I've got in there.
So let's get one top two. My top two: Corey Davis and Marvin Jones. Two guys that hopefully Marvin Jones taken in a lot of leagues, but in maybe like a 10-person team, I've seen him open. Obviously in a 12-person league, obviously he's been picked up. But I've seen a lot of people drop him since Galladay came back. He's obviously my number one, and then obviously Corey Davis. AJ Brown looks great, still will do good, but with Corey Davis there, it's just another weapon for that offense in Tannehill.
My top two, I'm not playing for 10-team leagues, so fuck this nonsense. No, Curtis Samuel is a decent grab. I think he's owned in 20% of normal leagues, and he's been producing fairly consistently. He had a couple weeks there. He started off hot, a couple weeks not so great, but then he's been coming back, being pretty consistent, put up 20 points on Thursday night. Beyond that, I'll leave Zach Moss for you. I'm going to go with one of the options of Cam Akers or Malcolm Brown. It's a lotto ticket on a good offense. If Darrell Henderson's going to miss a decent amount of time, I want one of those lotto tickets, see how it pans out.
But which one?
I'm leaning Malcolm Brown.
Okay, I just want to see which one you're going for. Can I look that up real quick?
Listen to your voice. You sound like a woman.
Can I just pick Savannah has him.
As I said, Zach Moss is my first waiver wire claim. I just think he's going to be very good. I know he splits work with Devin Singletary, but he's the goal line back, and his biggest issue was staying healthy. Now that he's healthy, he's been getting more touches, more snaps. I just think he's going to be a big part of their offense. I also think Corey Davis is going to be a good target to go after because A.J. Brown, while as good as he's been, he struggled in this game, and that passing attack just needs more weapons. He's been hurt. He came back. He looked great. He looks like the first-round pick that they thought he would be. It took him a lot longer to get there, but he's a great one to grab if he's available, and I think he's going to be available in most leagues. Another cute little thing that I just did this week that I thought, hey, if you need something a little different, the Washington Footballs.
Do that. I like that pick.
The Washington Footballs just came off a bye, so in Yahoo you can go grab them before the week hits.
Yep.
They have the Giants, Lions, Bengals, and Cowboys coming up. Talk about offenses that struggle. Whew.
Yeah, I mean, if I had someone to drop as in
Lions and Bengals?
If I had someone to drop with Ruggs, which I had to put in, or my kicker, literally anyone on my bench that wasn't a starter or handcuffed, I would have picked up Washington, but I couldn't. I like that pickup. I was trying to do that all week. One person that I'm going to finalize, Brian Hill for the Falcons is going to be a great pickup. Gurley is always – he looks slow. He is slow. But he is nursing a slight leg injury that may or may not cause him to miss a few games. I think he probably will miss a few games down the stretch. Probably owned in probably 10% of the leagues, but he looks good when he runs the ball.
He does.
He looks fast, looks strong, and without Gurley taking those
looks the opposite of Todd Gurley.
Without Todd Gurley taking those touchdowns away, which the Falcons love to do in the red zone, I think for some reason Paulie has him.
Of course.
But if anyone has him in the league, if you're looking for a long shot to maybe keep on your bench in case someone goes down, that's a good one to pick up.
Anything else, guys? I think we've already overstayed our welcome with this podcast. We're running a little long here, so any final words?
Go Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. Go Tampa Bay minus 10.5. Go Tampa Bay minus 10.5 with Leonard Fournette.
No, go Rojo.
Yeah, let's go Ronald Jones. We're all on that.
I mean, why? I thought we're a group team. What's the matter if I win and you
traded 50 points of Dalvin Cook to my opponent this week.
I can still win. If Leonard Fournette fumbles
I
twice
wanted
and
to-
does nothing else, I win.
I wanted to bite you in the ass just for the pure satisfaction. And I want Savannah to be in first. Why would I want you in first?
So would you have done the trade if you were in my shoes?
100%.
Okay. So you can't really fault me. I took what was given to me.
I can follow you all I want. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for
Yeah, I
us
wanna be
today.
first, no matter what.
I think that's going to do it for us today on the A+ Sports League podcast. If you made it this far, God bless your soul. Thanks for coming in, guys, and have a good one.
See ya.